always good to put first what should be first. To whom does this book belong? Whom is it written for? The Myths of Fetretat is not of a religious script, or it is not written for those who cordoned off themselves by religious schools of thought whatsoever. The thoughts in this book set their grounds in a free thought world found beyond any religious schools. Hence, any human being who lives under a roof of any given religion may catch hold of them and live by these high-dimensional thoughts while still staying in his own faith ground. On the other hand, the thoughts raised in the book are not of spiritual beings. The known sects of the four progenies of the spirits formed a sacrificial system in their worship. However, the supreme thought that this book is based on does not have a system that involves offering sacrifices of any sort. Whether this thought or any books created out of it set their ground upon the system of Tebeb or wisdom. The system of wisdom follows a path that creates Mela-a-Wu-Di, a state of creating a universal union between the Creator and human beings. This process involves the concept of heirship or the right to the throne. Man possesses the character of the Creator by means of being a direct child, and the Creator possesses the character of man by being a father to him. This system traced its origin back to the first era, in the time of the man who inherits the ability to create a bond with the high truth descended to earth. However, it was rather in the second era that the system that bestows the right to be a child as we know it today was revealed in the lives of humankind. In the first era, this system of granting the right to be a child was practiced only by splitting off the physical body. This requires to be physically emerged out of the body of the man who brought the element of life to earth. In the second era, this system of granting the right to be a child, an heirship, was shifted to food and drinks. Hence, this introduced the system of Tsiwa, a consecrated food and drink. It is a system by which mankind forms a communion with the truth that dwells within the great wisdom, his bearer, and attains the right to be a child or an heir. This practice of wisdom follows its own calendar system. The time measurement is divided up into days, weeks, awoods, and years. One day holds a time of darkness and a time of daylight together. 1 week equals 7 days, and 13 weeks make one awood. 1 year consists of 4 awoods plus an exceptional 1 day that is not added up to the other days of the year. A divine practice is at the core of this wisdom, which enables man to create a union with wisdom, or to give life to his mortal body. This divine practice establishes its ground on that particular day that is not added up to the other days of the year, which comes at the end of the 4 awoods. 1 awood constitutes 91 days or 13 weeks. Any awood enters on Sundays and always exits on Saturdays. This is like a week that begins on Sunday and ends on Saturday. Hence, the last Saturday at the end of the last awood is when a great restful festivity takes place. There are 4 such holidays during the 4 awoods of the year. The year begins with the fire awood, continues with the water awood, moves on to the air/wind awood, and concludes with the earth awood. The system of these 4 great holidays of the awoods is headed by 12 mothers. These mothers have a communion comprised of men and women who are neither less than 3 nor larger than 72 people. When the number exceeds 72, the mother selects a woman head from the assembly and sets up a new subgroup that runs separately, but still under the parent communion. In fact, the awood holidays do not perform a tsiwa practice, sharing of a consecrated food and drink. The group members gather around at the beginning of the holiday, Friday evening, and prepare a feast from whatever is available at home. They let an honorable person or an elderly member of the group open the ceremony. Except for taking the food and drink first from the table, the person would speak nothing or not perform any prayer. Then the rest of the group follows him or her and starts feasting. They spent the rest of the restful day with the spirit of love and pleasure within the area not far from the house of the ceremony. As the four woods pass in such a way in the houses of the mothers, at that noble day, which falls at the end of the year, the 12 mothers and all the members of their communions assemble in the house where the tsiwa is kept. As we mentioned earlier, the system of wisdom follows a tsiwa practice. This practice is performed by male servants of the tsiwa. On the first evening of the most honorable day of all, the man who is higher in honor among the rest of the servants enters the room where the tsiwa is kept. He stands before the tsiwa, a clay vase filled with a homemade drink, and the masab, a small decorated basket work with a flatbread in it. Then he pronounces the following: "This food and drink laid before me is like any other ordinary food taken from a farmer's harvest. Days later, it will be spoiled and finally turns to dust. I, who is standing before this tsiwa today, as any human being made of flesh, walk around this earthly world, and tomorrow will die and turns to dust. This clay vase and basket work placed before me is like any other household items. It is a product of a woman's artwork, and tomorrow it will worn out, break down, and turn to dust." After saying these statements separately, he then combines them together with himself and says, "This food and drink become this body of mine that is now walking around this earthly world. This body of mine will eventually break down and become this clay dirt." Saying this, he covers up the tsiwa with a piece of garment and walks out of the room, and never enters back. The next morning, following the early sunrise, he, together with the other servants, will hold the tsiwa, the vase, with his left hand, the masab, the small basket work, with his right hand, and walks out to stand in front of the 12 mothers who are gathered with their communions. Then he pronounces to them, "This food and drink are one that gives eternal life to our mortal bodies. This practice is an eternal system that was performed by our fathers yesterday, being performed by us today, and will continue by our children tomorrow." The communion will respond in unison, "Yes, it is true." He then goes back into the house. He takes a bite from the bread and a sip from the drink first, and following him the rest of the servants separately do the same. Then the 12 mothers take their turns to go into the tsiwa room and have a bite and a sip. At last, the members of the communion under the houses of the 12 mothers will follow. All the guests, other than the members of the communions, who attend the ceremony, will feast on the food and drink prepared for ceremonial purposes by the 12 mothers. This is the system of wisdom that we spoke of earlier, and the one that lies above either religious teachings or spiritual sacrificial systems. In fact, even though this practice hasn't been revealed as clearly as it is now, it can be seen as being overlapped with other religious and cultural practices found in Ethiopia or other countries. For the past 700 years, peoples of religious and spiritual sects have hunted, crucified, and exterminated this great thought. Few have secretly followed and honored this system, pretending to be religious people and enduring the oppressions, even though not on a scale as we exposed it today. However, this system and practice of wisdom are being celebrated openly today in its full honor by the generation of this time.